Hi, everyone. I hope you can hear me. If you can and you can see the screen, please post in the chat and say hi to myself and my guest as well. So just a quick word of welcome and thanks to all my participants and the audience before we start. And what I'm going to do first for the first few minutes or so is just explain the process of group supervision and the method you'll be seeing here today. Now, there are a few methods available, and I've chosen the one that I think is the most appropriate for this purpose, and I'll explain a little bit about it. So after the explanation, we'll go on to the demonstration, and I just want to add that it's completely real, it's unscripted, and the group members will bring agendas or topics of real issues, problems, or questions that they may have about their coaching. So the method we use today is based on the collaborative type of group supervision proposed by counseling and supervision expert Bridget Proctor, wherein the supervisor plays the role of the facilitator and monitor of the process. So in group supervision, there's a maximum of 6 participants, excluding the supervisor. But I found that 4 to 5 works the best for the dynamics of a group so that everybody can participate and it just flows freely. So in this session, in a typical session, we start with a quick check-in and then we go around the table, virtual table, to find out who has brought an agenda for discussion. So in this case, if we talk about an hour, we divide it by the number of agendas. So let's say in this session, and I don't know what everybody has brought. So let's say we have 2 people wanting to discuss something, then each will have about 30 minutes allocated to their discussion and to their agenda. So we start with we agree who's going to start, and then we start with that first agenda. And the supervisee then describes their issue or their question. And they also tell the group of the outcome that they would like to achieve in the session. And they tell the group how the participants can actually help them achieve it. So that's by asking questions or sharing experiences or whatever. So this information sort of forms a mini contract, if you like. So just a reminder about confidentiality. These sessions are usually confidential and they are covered by a supervisor-supervisee contract. So in the session, after agreeing on the topic and outcome, participants then move the process forward in various ways. They can ask questions to create clarity and to get the supervisee to new insights. Different from coaching, they can share their experiences, they offer ideas and perspectives, and they also add their knowledge and expertise to the process. Because here we deem everybody to be peers, and the supervisee may not be able to move forward by questions alone. So anyone speaks freely when they have something to add, and there's no preset order, like for instance in a fishbowl exercise. When we've completed this process or the time is up, the person whose agenda we discussed gives quick feedback before we move on to the next person with the next agenda, and we repeat this process until we have covered all the agendas on the table. So quickly, the benefits from group supervision processes, and it's unique to this setting because it allows for more interaction and learning among, as I've said, we are all considered to be peers who learn from each other's experience, share diverse ideas and perspectives. We apply collective knowledge in the process, and we also utilize varied expertise and strengths. So there's a lot of diversity going on in the dynamics of a group supervision process. So I would like to ask you to post any questions you may have now and during the session in the Q&A section, as obviously we don't want to disrupt the process to answer all your questions, but we will do that afterward when we have covered all the agendas. So, let me just start by quickly introducing the group members. First of all, we have our two alumni, Kevin Zuterman and Jana Siedenhans. And then we've got the soon-to-be alumni, Miriam Blanc, Juan Gonzalez, and Georgiana Montin. And I'll just leave this slide up for a minute or so, just so that you can see their details. This recording will be available in the library, so you can go and have a look there. And if you've got any questions for any of the participants, or you want to have a look at their profiles, the information is all there. So let me stop sharing so that you can see us all. There we go. So, hi guys, how are you tonight?
Hi, Joan. Hi, guys.
Hi, everyone.
Oh,
Hi,
very
Ryan.
good.
Hi.
It's so great to see you here, and thank you for agreeing to come to this perfect opportunity to showcase your talents. So if you can tell me who of you actually have got something to discuss, brought an agenda to the table.
So I would have something to bring today.
Me too.
Alrighty, so it's two of you, so 30 minutes each, thereabouts. Who would like to start?
I can go if it's okay, Georgie.
Yeah, sure, go.
Yeah. Okay. Great. So shall I start then?
Yes, please tell us your agenda or your topic, whatever you want us to have a look at with you tonight.
Okay. So so it's about a client's case, and I would so it's a little bit of a challenge I'm facing right now, and I would like to see your ideas, your perspectives. Maybe one of you had similar experiences, and how you approached it, and just to expand my point of view, and maybe do something else. So it is a client with whom I have like a 10 sessions package. We're on the 4th session, and we did an audit. So the area is in the personal area, personal growth, and right now we're in the awareness stage. So the challenge is that we're facing some avoidance patterns, mechanisms, and in the beginning, I was just looking very slowly and just, observing her story, the beliefs and assumptions and everything around. And then we started going a little bit in circles, and then I increased my thought-provoking questions, challenging her a little bit more, holding more up the mirror, contradictions I was hearing and stuff. So the challenge is actually we hit some resistance or some avoiding patterns, and then I can see like there's like a crack in her box. And then the next session, it feels like we're bouncing back to start, or shifting from one avoiding pattern to another avoiding pattern, but still like hitting the wall of resistance. And it would be nice just to get some views from you guys.
Can you let me know what it looks like when you feel that the crack is there at the end of a session?
So we had one session where we were looking into, let me just think. So in her culture, and where she is with her spouse, her task is to take care of the household. and her spouse is nagging constantly, at her, and she feels by the end of the evening very frustrated and tired and annoyed. And she wants peace. So she came up like, okay, if I could clone myself, like know exactly what he wants, then I would not have problems. So figuring out like, okay, if I just could be a mind reader, then I wouldn't have those problems, because then I would do exactly what he wants me to do. And then he wouldn't be bragging and nagging like, you didn't do this right, you didn't do this right. So everything she's doing, it's not the way he wants it. So she came up like, maybe I should get the carpenter who is like carpeting me exactly the way my spouse wants me to be. And then the next session, we so I was reflecting some stuff, and then she was, yeah, makes sense. And then we came up, okay, you cannot be like sect person, so everyone has their own identity. And the next session, we moved into the pattern. Okay, if I just switch, something annoying is coming, and I switch exactly to be happy. So just not seeing that I feel frustrated because this is something I shouldn't do, like feel happy.
Okay, so if I get you right, the point where the brick comes, like the brick in the wall, is when she sees, oh, maybe I should get a carpenter to copy me in a perfect way. And then you discuss with her and get to the point that she says, well, no, that's not the solution, because everybody has the right to be an individual person.
Yes.
And then the next session you bouncing back is that whether she might be upset before or not, she's going into the avoidance pattern of being the behaving happy person. Is that,
yes,
do I hear that right?
Yes, Jana, absolutely.
Okay,
yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
Right, so it's not avoiding your questions, but her life situation is she's avoiding like the situation.
Yeah, and I think her emotions, as far, like when you feel like, okay, I'm annoyed and I shouldn't feel annoyed, and then it's like rejecting and denying that emotion, because I shouldn't feel this because it's a bad emotion, right? So I should feel happy. And we came to the area like, I cannot change my spouse, so I don't have control over others, but I have control over myself. So maybe I just get the carpenter, or now I just be happy all the time.
So what is the real problem for you in the sessions at this point? Because what you explained so far to me sounds like quite a bit of process on your clients' end in terms of like realizations and clarity already.
Yeah, just having some ideas. How would you approach next? What would you do? Stay on course, or are there any like exercises or ideas I could do or focus on to raise awareness in that area? I don't know.
What did you so far try to get more awareness, to reopen the gap and the brick?
Yes. So yeah, as I told, we had 4 sessions so far. One session was just getting like a little bit more of her story, and the second session was nothing, because we were circling, and I was facing some fears, and circling and had no structure at all. So you can throw that session out, and then I reflected some more back, like contradictions, and then I could see this crack. And last session, I used every picture to tell the story, just to get from another view, not looking at her, just getting another perspective. It worked perfectly. So she was giving all her best into the story, and she was super surprised, because the second picture I chose, she was like, what shall I do with that picture? And it worked. And by the end of the session, said like, wow, I wasn't aware I could say so much about it. So that was when all the happy came up, in the shift. So that's where I am right now.
Have
So
you,
there's two. Go for it, Juan.
yeah, so one of the things is that it feels or sense, I have a sense of her having a conflict between what's expected of her and what she feels inside of her, right? And
Absolutely.
so those expectations she feels are projected upon her from her spouse.
Yes, and
So
and yeah.
Go ahead.
And she is in a culture where she cannot live her free mind. So yeah, that's a little bit, of external thing where it's making stuff complicated.
Right, I can see that now.
Yes, but it is
yeah, 'cause
definitely a conflict of values. What is important to me? Who am I? And what do others want from me and expect from me?
Is she aware of the fact that she is behaving like society expects her? Or is that something that is a habit coming? Like going into the happy place, is that something where she on a more I view bird's eye perspective knows that she's forced to do so? Or is that what you see due to her cultural background and she can't see it so far?
So she was sharing with me that she was struggling with that a lot, and someone from her family, who, I don't know, who's like 70, just said, you cannot change and control others. You can only do this with yourself. And she was like, okay, that's great. So I want to do this as well. So yeah, that is like, okay, I can only do this from within me, but it's coming from yeah, I don't know, like not the right place. I don't know how to say it right.
So Miriam,
So she knows.
two things, if I may. First is, you said the second session you can just get rid of that because it didn't make any sense. For you, I would say don't discredit yourself on that, because we all know that there's an equal amount, if not more, work being done internally by the client in between sessions than during the session, right? So the session might have been messed up in your view, but probably the week after had more value for the client than you think. So I would say, like, give that session credit for yourself as well. And the second point is, have you checked with the client at the start, like what her actual goal is, or what she wants to work towards? Because I saw Cynthia actually popping up that question as well. So
Yes.
Cynthia, we're on the same line.
Yes. So yes, we did. So one point is, like, she's normally a very open and chatty person when she's with friends and when she's outside. And then she used the term, and when I go home, everything changes. And she's quiet. And she's not talking, and her spouse is like, hey, listen, a friend of mine just said something, and he told me this happened. Why do I hear this from him, and why do I not hear this from you? What's going on here? And she says, like, she knows that, but she's consciously not doing it. And it's like, I don't know if this is resistance, like, it's not me. So she wants to figure out, why is she behaving like that? Why is she quieter at home? Why is she not talking with her husband? And why is she more open and more chattier and, outside, like, and this is all connected with the high expectations of her husband to keep everything in order at home, and it should be exactly how he wants. Like, when he comes, there is the dinner. Okay, you didn't put the ketchup away. Why didn't you put the ketchup away? So he's nagging her constantly, and by the end of the day, she's tired and frustrated. Yes, and she just wants to, please, and wants that her family members are happy, because that's her job.
Okay, so she, with you, wants to work on being the person that she is in her private surroundings as well. Do I get that right? Is that what she's looking for in your work together?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
How would you feel about, and this is not coaching, but an idea that I would like to share with you and also with the others, how about what they feel about that? As you said, she was not herself in the session. After the session, you hit the wall with her, right? That's when you had where this brick came, and she got awareness, she got more to be herself at that point, at the end of that one session, right? In the next session,
Yes.
she was back in or she decided for being the artificial happy one, right?
Yes. Yes.
You could ask her, and this is what I would like to know how you feel about that and how the others see it. You could ask her if she has, looking back at your common work together, has found a similar pattern in her behavior that she finds in her home place, of being not herself, but being in the artificial role. And you could take it from there. If she's aware of it, you could dig deeper with her in a vault of trust, because it is between you and her, and it's between the both of you, and she could still get to the point to see that it's not necessarily about her husband, but about more and something deeper in her that brings her to behave. How would you feel about that?
That's great, Jana. I just sense that we're not there yet from the awareness. So I don't know if to me it feels like very challenging, and I don't know if that's, you know, rather my fear speaking, like I don't want to go there, or if we don't have like this trust relationship yet to go that far. I don't know. That's something, I don't know. Maybe I have to challenge a little bit.
And from your story, what I understood is that she knows, but she doesn't see, in the sense she knows how she should be or how she wants to be, but she doesn't see it yet, as in she doesn't have the insight yet. And I think that's a matter of awareness, but coming from an insight and not from knowing.
Yeah. So I don't know if any of you guys had something similar in your coaching. I don't know what to do. So Jana, that's great, and I'm definitely gonna take. Yeah.
Just from my mind, there seems to be an issue with the high expectations that's put on her. And it sounds almost like a little bit of an abusive relationship, to be honest. So that's why I would think her baseline is to go into a coping style.
Yes.
And that's why maybe you'll make progress in the sessions. But when she returns back, she had the whole week or so in that same situation again.
Yeah, and I don't know if she can truly be her identity in the surrounding where she lives. I don't know.
Can she know her identity when she lives in abusive surrounding?
I don't know. It's difficult because you're behaving, like someone you should be and not who you are.
Do you know, Miriam, to what extent she talks with her husband? Because I mean, obviously, nothing can be changed from our end or from your end about the husband, right? And when she says that she cannot be herself the way she wants to be at home because of his behavior, do you know if she has addressed that to him? Because at this point,
yes, she told me I cannot say that to him. That's out of the line. I cannot address this with my husband.
What's behind that fear?
I don't know. Maybe that's something to question.
Because either it could be something in between them coming from the abusive relationship, or it could be something, I can't do it because women are not meant to do that, right? So you could find out more about whether it is more the social pressure or the pressure within the relationship if you follow the fear.
Yeah, so she has a lot of freedom. She can do whatever. She has money. She has all that she can do, but her task is to taking care of the home and you know, all the stuff in the home, and of course when he comes, that everything, serving him, and that he feels happy. That's her job.
Is there a way she can do more on the outside? So yes, fulfill whatever she thinks her obligations is, but start to do something else as well.
Yes, we were talking about that she would like to do something on career-wise, you know. But there we hit the fear wall, and she bounced back like, that's something that she knows she could do and she would be allowed, but the action steps to take, she's not ready yet to do.
Okay, but when there is the allowance to do so, and the awareness of the allowance, the bridge in between is a root within her. If that allowance is right, if that's a genuine allowance, the root is within her.
Yeah.
So where's that fear coming from?
So yeah, that's something I need to figure out with her.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about trying out some of the sheets from our coaching toolbox around fear? Do you think you have the vault of trust to do that with her already?
That's a very upfront idea, to face someone who's not ready to see fear, to say, let's do an exercise on fear. So maybe I have to look into it, like, you know, but I would like to go from like a different angle. I don't know, if like from coming from a behind door, like doing it in a, you know, and raising, I don't know.
I want to ask you, like, how did you work on, how and if you worked with her emotions in the sessions? So maybe you can treat the fear from the emotional point of view. Yeah, I mean,
yes, we are not diving that deep yet into that, but I have planned. So I have an exercise I would like to use, if it makes sense in our session, into action tendencies, you know. So there is a visualization technique where you go into you know, a negative emotion, and you just feel like, is this something I want to run from? And then you have like a visualization of a happy emotion, and just seeing what is your action tendency when you feel that emotion, and what's your action tendency to feel that emotion. I don't know, like, and just raising awareness on both sides. Okay, with which one do I feel super uncomfortable? I don't know, like, and is that maybe a reason, because, you know, I'm not allowing to feel like annoyance, you know.
I would like to share quite an urgent thought around this idea, because there is a gap for me when you in the beginning said you don't know if you are there yet to talk to specific things with her due to the balance of trust you have. Now you think about doing visualization techniques with her that, as we know, can be very intense and can end up in very heated emotions. So it's probably a good thing to do for breaking through a wall. But are you sure that you're at that point of trust at that stage? If you're unsure about where your point of trust is with the other exercise that was not with visualization?
Yeah, I will think about it. Yeah.
I've got an idea as well. And Jana, maybe you can explain your SWOT analysis. No, you're laughing, but I think that may be a safer way initially to get her to see some strengths and opportunities and things. So
yeah, I can. It's actually, the basis is the normal SWOT analysis, so strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And I replaced the weaknesses by an H for hurdles, so that you don't judge yourself for being weak, right? But just can accept that there is a blocking that you need to kind of break through or step over. And you could look at, because what she wants is to be herself in her family background. She wants to learn that, right? So you could look at the one way of being the person that she is right now in her background, behaving, taking herself back. And the other way would be being her authentic self. And you could make this short analysis with her on both of it, looking what's your strength, that you need to do that, what's the hurdle you need to get over to do that. And the hurdle she needs to get over if she behaves with her husband is letting go of her identity, right? So you might crack a bit more when she sees what hurdle is she avoiding when she want to go down that path.
That's
And
awesome.
you can then take that hurdle and it can become a strength.
That's awesome, Jana. Really, thank you. Yes, it's just blowing me. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yes, thank you.
And what I found out, because I did that with a client with both of it, she found out that she has the kind of same strengths on both ways. And the things keeping her back were more or less the same as well in a way. So you will face something that is very similar on either way path you take. So the outcome in a way was, I'd better take the one that I want to go because I'm going to face that challenge anyway. That helped her heaps to choose her path.
I like that. That's a great thing. So I used this SWOT analysis with another client, but just doing it that way, I like that. That's great. Thank you.
All right, guys, shall we wrap this agenda up? Miriam, how did it go for you?
Yeah, so it pretty good. So just hearing some different perspectives and just thinking a little bit and reflecting on the session today, and the absolute hit was right now the SWOT analysis. So thank you.
So you've got a couple of ideas and things
Yes.
that you can go and try out as well.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
But love to hear the outcome of next following sessions with the clients.
Yes, sure.
Me too.
Great stuff.
If you want to, I can send you the sheet for the SWOT analysis.
Oh,
like
yeah. Yes,
so okay.
that's great. Thank you, Anna.
I
And-
hear a new Jay Shetty coaching tool coming up.
Yes, that's awesome. Cool.
And I apologize. I didn't want to be kind of critical about the visualization. I just had this
No,
urgent
that's-
impulse
no,
to
no, no.
share it with you as
Yes,
the
and
colleagues that we are.
that's great. Just you have like sometimes this narrow view, and when you see stuff from different angles and different perspectives, you just kind of like reflect on it, and that's pretty helpful. Thank you.
Georgie, your turn. Tell us about your problem or issue and what you want to get out of the session and how can we help you with that?
So I have a client. I have a client, and it's outside of the school, and I started with her building a vision on a business that she wants to build. And I had a sense from the beginning that somehow she couldn't visualize it really good, or something came up all the time somehow. And then we had a session that was quite awkward. So I'm not going to say like Miriam, I would throw it away, but it was really awkward because she literally didn't have any intention for the session, and she somehow just wanted to report to me the steps that she did for her business. And I had an idea. It was every picture tells a story, of course, because I think it's such a famous tool. And that revealed a complete new scenario, in the sense that, like Miria said, I also chose one picture for her. It was literally out of intuition, and I was just going to say, okay, I need to stop here. And she said she was 80% sure that I'm going to choose that. And then she started telling me her real problem or her real life situation where she feels stuck, which is her relationship with her husband. And it's a huge shift from the initial goal. And we didn't even establish her relationship or a goal in her relationship. We didn't establish anything. So the last session ended with every picture tells a story, and she started talking about the problems in her relationship. And I asked her at some point, what is it that she needs? And she said that she just feels good talking about it, but we did not establish any move forward. So what am I going to do in the next session?
So Georgie, before we go on, I see there's been a couple of questions. So maybe you can quickly tell us about Every Picture Tells a Story from It's in the Coaching Library, just for the audience's sake.
Yeah, so I love to talk about this because it helped me as the client, a volunteer client, and it helped also my client. It's literally pictures, just pictures. And like how I did it in my session and how my coach did it with me, it was, I picked one and then my coach picked one. And of course I picked whatever I had at the surface, and I was happy to expand about it, me as a client. And my client did the same thing. She chose something at the surface. She basically chose a picture with somebody traveling, and she started telling how nice it is to travel and how much she needs a break. And then the picture that I chose, like I said, it was pure intuition, and I just stopped there, and then she started opening up. What I noticed when I did it myself as a client, and what I noticed with my clients, is how we project or our beliefs or our fears or assumptions, and how we can take things that are somehow hidden or in deep levels of ourselves and just project it in a picture, and then speak about it more easily, because we have the feeling we don't speak about ourselves. We just speak about the situation. So that's the trick, basically. Does it make sense for everyone? You guys should check it out.
So any questions or comments for Georgie on how to move forward with this client?
Yeah, so for next session, you don't have any topic or goal planned, you said, right?
No, we don't. And also a little bit, it's a little bit of strange timing, because I was on vacation for 1 week, so we didn't have our session normally. And I told her, just write to me when you want to have the next session, and she didn't contact me yet. So that's also another. So we don't have a scheduled session, although I know it's gonna come, and I don't have an idea what's gonna happen in our session.
But that's two
Right.
different things. Not having an idea about the next session is something different from not having a gut feeling how you want to go on. What is your intuition saying about what you want to do? How you can see it?
I would really like her to come. She can come with an intention, regardless of which topic it is. Because if I set an intention, like, I don't want to be intrusive, and I know it took her a lot of time. We had at least 4 or 5 sessions before in order for her to open up a little bit, and then everything exploded. And I was happy about it, that she felt so relieved to be able to talk about this in a safe and non-judgmental space. So I would like to keep my sessions like this, non-judgmental and without any expectations from my side, but with a clear intention from her side. I would like to see that.
Can't you open with that? If you had 4 sessions already, and by the time you meet again, just kind of go back to the previous period that you've covered together. So instead of asking her, do you want to continue on where we ended last session? Because that's very directive, right? You can just ask her something along the lines of, how do you feel about everything we've covered over the last couple of weeks and over the last few sessions? Where has your thoughts taken you? Where do you stand? What do you feel like is the most important thing for you right now to address? So you do ask her to kind of go back and think about and reflect on everything you two have covered, but at the same time, you leave it completely open for her what she wants to focus on.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. And I think that was one of the main reasons for which I didn't insist on scheduling the next session, and I left it up to her. So when she feels ready, and when she feels ready, she can come to me with anything that she needs.
And you don't need to reach out to her with the intention of scheduling a new session, right? You don't have to send her a message saying, hey, when do you want to have your new session? But what you can do is genuinely reach out to her just to check in, saying, hey, I've been on holiday for a week. We haven't spoken in a while, or just saying, I just want to check in with you since we last spoke, how you're feeling, just to make sure that she knows you're there, and then completely leave it up to her whether she says, oh, I want to schedule a meeting tomorrow, or if she says, maybe in a few weeks' time. But just to genuinely check in from I'm still here, I know you're there, just want to see if you're okay.
Yeah, to be honest, I have this on a post-it. I just wrote it today when I was thinking about my topic, and I had it on a post-it. Yes, that's the like you said, I think is the most genuine and authentic way to do it, and it's how I also feel doing it, for sure.
How can you make it a heartfelt invitation?
That's an amazing question.
You're empowering her if you give, because what you said is things exploded in the end of the last session. In fact, you together unchained her heart, right? That's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge. That's such a big success, and she might not be aware of it. So this perspective in the invitation, in the checking in, and leave it to her with this perspective, she would have maybe a different perspective on what happened there, an important one.
That's the perfect timing, because actually today is her birthday, and I was thinking to prepare. I was thinking to prepare like a nice message for her, and for sure I'm gonna throw something really deep in there. Just something for her to maybe, to feel that I'm also open to listen to her, and she will feel it. And I think that's a great question, and I think that's one of my biggest intentions in my coaching. And I could have came to you like I came, I don't know, 1 or 2 weeks ago, and say, what am I doing? Because I'm losing structure, and I'm losing actually the big goal, because I've been in that place. And I'm still struggling with balancing this. And I think this was my first question when I prepared the topic for today. How do I balance this? Because we have this goal, and now we're going to a whole other direction. I'm losing my structure. I'm losing everything, or we're losing everything. Shouldn't be about me, but then I decided to go from the hard place and from the center. I think it's very important.
It's definitely not a loss to find a new direction. I think it's a huge gain. And you must just realize, and I see some comments here as well, that she may be feeling very vulnerable at the moment after the new insights that she's found.
Yes, definitely.
And you could support her. Oh, you go, Juan. Sorry.
Yeah, and for me, it's a great opportunity, since this is your 5th session, to revisit and just like Kevin mentioned, the last 5 sessions or several sessions, like look and do an audit, so that you're building structure there, but you're also making her aware of her growth as well, and then you're also coming to the point that might be an opportunity for her to be aware and revisit that breakthrough that she had. And maybe that's where as she revisits all those weeks, maybe she'll want to then open up again and start moving forward with expressing or trying to talk about, because it's been about 2 weeks now, so this is like a good amount of space for a person to reflect on a breakthrough. So it's a great opportunity to do that check-in, that 30-day check-in that that we in our modules express it, 30, 60 and 90-day session. And it's a great way to do that, build structure for you, do the audit, and at the same time bring her the awareness of those sessions, so that she can revisit them and really be in her space and say, this is where what I've grown into, and are my intentions and my vision now still aligned with who I am at this moment.
Yeah, that's a great point. and then we can decide together, like how I said, which wolf we're gonna feed, you know. But it's also a little bit challenging for me, because we started, because I want to be the developmental sports coach, and she had this idea of a business in the sports area, and I was really into this. And then we got to a place of relationship. I don't feel prepared, or I don't feel, because I try not to coach at the story level, but it's not that I feel unprepared, but it's a shift for me, and it's interesting to see how, if you have a niche or established niche, or it's something that you really want, and then it changes into completely something else, like how do we react? I didn't have this experience before. Maybe John, you can share something.
I'm just smiling because, yes, you may have a niche, and yes, you definitely will get clients that's completely out of that niche. So you've got to decide whether it's within your ability and within your competence, and maybe not right now, but you can also go and learn and read and build your competence up. So it's entirely up to you to decide whether it can be within your competence, and of course, whether you would like to pursue that area as well.
That would be challenging.
I would I would like to share something on that, just a thought or an experience of mine, because right before the exam, I was really more and more focusing on finding my niche, and I have a niche in mind that I'm still with, but with all my coaching clients that I have so far within the program and the ones that are coming since like out of the program, something else is happening there, right? These people come and I can see that the purpose they come to me to work on always turns out in the same direction for all of them, though I'm not sending out, I'm a coach on this and that. So maybe you check whether this in a similar way happens to you with other coaches, because that gives you a lot of insight about your coaching purpose.
Yeah,
well.
I have the feeling that this destiny is making fun of me or something. It's a strange sense of humor of the destiny lately for me. But
Look, no, you know what might be is that you don't want to look at destiny because you have a different plan, and then destiny has an interesting humor to let you know about. Oh, you can look everywhere. I will be there. It's just like the white rabbit is going to be there before you can look away.
no, you guys, that's why exactly I found this. I think it's complicated term. I'm not sure how I'm gonna use it to make sense for everyone. But I chose developmental sports coach because I think the sports mindset can develop so many other areas in somebody's life. So I truly expect that everything is gonna be a mixture. But yeah.
And isn't that usually how it goes with every client and most of the individual sessions as well, that they come with their topic, which is just the high level thing, and within a couple of questions it goes down to what's actually behind the topic, or you completely drift to something else. But it's hardly ever the topic that you bring to the session that is really the thing that you end up talking about. So in a sense, it's great that it comes to you now after 4 sessions with one client while you're still in the course, because it's got those shifts are going to happen a lot more often. So it's better that you kind of get used to the uncomfortable feeling of, oh, all of a sudden I need to shift to something else now, than that you have it a couple of months from now.
Yeah. Now, if you say it now to me, it's nice to hear. But if you have said this 2 months ago, then I would have said here, no. It has to be structured. It has to be like this. But yeah, I think this is like you say, like now that I'm in the school, and how much I've learned to be flexible, and more than flexible, I would say open. And I think that that's a big deal.
Yeah, and see what you can do when you go into a topic that's not really something you're comfortable with or all that competent about. So when she starts talking about a relationship or her husband, if someone comes to me and goes into a relationship topic, I'm not in a relationship, so I cannot really coach you on a relationship, but I do know a whole lot about efficient communication. And 9 out of 10 times, relationship issues, as far as I know, kind of comes down to communication, right?
Oh,
So
Kevin, where did you made that one up? Come on, you made
I
that
know,
up.
it's an
I don't
assumption,
believe
I
you.
know. So I can coach on communication related to a relationship to still help someone cover that topic while not going into the actual relationship itself. So look at what you can do in that topic.
Wow, I just had such a huge insight now, and I hope I can still put it into words because this was so huge. It was like, for me as a developmental sports coach, I was talking about this with my coach yesterday evening. For me, it's all about when people go through injuries or like difficult situations in their sports development, they find themselves in the place where they have the feeling that a part of their identity was taken away from them. And my purpose was to help them find their inner strength. And with my client, for example, even the topic is the relationship, I have the feeling that she lost her inner strength and she's completely dependent on a relationship that is harming her. So I think this getting back the inner strength, I just had the insight that it can be in any niche or area of the life.
Like, it refers perfectly to Miriam's case when we were saying, how good can you be yourself, and how can you know your identity if you are in an unhealthy relationship?
Yeah, it all makes sense.
And even sport can be an unhealthy relationship
It
as well.
very, very unhealthy. It's so
That
true.
can fall over to other areas too.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's totally, it may not be totally unrelated. So if that's a discomfort that you're experiencing because it changed, it might be pretty related to her approach and her vision.
Look, actually what happens in a way, if you have a huge relationship with sport, Georgie, right? If you do lots of sports and then you have the injury and this relationship is gone. How are you replacing that relationship when you work with these people? What are you doing there? This partner, sport has been the partner in that relationship and that's gone.
I'm going to use all the tools that I used on myself in the last 6 months, which are a lot of them. I tried everything because I was in this situation. And the term that I like in the latest book that I read, it's called the mindful athlete. And I found also in my insights and in me being coached that I could replace the movement in sports, the physical movement, with energetical movement.
Nice.
With energy movement, and it's really meaningful. And I also use that energy movement now in my trainings, for example. So when I work out now, I don't work out from a place of avoidance of some circumstances. So I knock myself out until I don't feel my muscles anymore. I do it from a very mindful place. And even the body is much more like stronger. And it's such a beautiful thing to experience. I hope I answer your questions, because I don't know if I answered your question. It was just what I...
Yeah, it was. You used their tools. And I love that the fact that you say you replace this partner yourself, right?
Yes.
So how do you feel? What did replace that partner? What did replace that hole? What fills this gap now?
It's a huge connection that I feel with a higher force than myself.
Disco! So you replace it with a relationship to yourself. So
Yes.
what are you going to do with a woman that turned out to come to you talking about a business that in fact is about a relationship problem?
I'm gonna empower her to find the strength in herself and to find that connection.
Go for it, Georgie!
Thank you for coaching me. And for giving the space to share all my stuff that probably many of you already heard, because I've been talking about this a lot, but yeah. Thank you.
And that's fantastic. And Georgie, I was just thinking, somebody who's got such a strong relationship and they lose it, as Jana said, can replace it with other unhealthy things like addictive relationships and other addictions as well. So that's also a perfect solution for that type of thing, to rather focus on your inner strength and replace those unhealthy things with the love for yourself.
Definitely. Definitely. I think it's like a really nice way to summarize this, Joan. Thank you. It's a great insight. I hope that for everyone else too. Because I don't know what you're writing in the chat, because I block my chat, so I wouldn't be nervous. So I just in the chat. I was completely present with you guys, but now maybe it's time to take my hand cream off my screen.
Anyway, so are you happy that we helped you today?
Like, I'm really excited. I think you can feel in my energy. I'm really excited how I connected the dots. I think it's really great. And I think I hope we made some good points for all the future coaches in the school, and they got some insights too.
Well, if you looked at the chat, it's absolutely on fire with how well the process is working for coaches and to help you with clients that may be stuck, and anything coaching related that's going on in your professional capacity. So this is why it's such a wonderful tool to have and use in terms of group supervision, because it's not only one-to-one, but you share all the perspectives of other coaches as well and their experiences.
Yes, I loved it.
And I think, Juan, the first question is going to be for you.
Oh, okay.
Have you looked at the Q&As?
I have not looked at the Q&As. I've been
Tyler
present.
wants to know, what is a hero's coach?
Okay. Yeah. So as I started moving into coaching, the supervised coaching, I started noticing a theme in the coaching that resonated with me, which is the hero's journey, that was taught to me by my English teacher back when I was a freshman. And it just always resonated with me because it was a very pivotal moment in my life. A lot was going on. And so I always kind of carried that with me throughout my life. And it wasn't until recently, about 5 years ago, that I started realizing that I'm the hero of this journey, and I'm the hero of my story. So then I just started moving forward to asking, well, what would the hero do? What would the protagonist do in this situation, which is me? So as I built my awareness around that, I just started living that way. And so in my sessions, it was coming up again. And I started realizing, well, you know what, this is really resonating with me. So I'm going to move with it and feel how it goes. And so I have a session with one client in particular that we continue to use this theme, and I'm seeing how powerful it is for her. So it's helping a person, who's always lived the support role, who's always lived the second role in their own life, and helping them be more comfortable with being the hero of their story. And how does that look for them? And it involves a lot of mindfulness, a lot of visualization. It involves, identifying what are the habits that are blocking you from being the hero. Why are you so uncomfortable with being the hero of your story? And so, yeah, that's where I'm moving towards. So it encompasses a lot. At the same time, it focuses on the self and how I view myself and how I want to move forward in my life.
And what story actually one tells oneself in your own head. So that's quite powerful from that perspective.
Yes, exactly.
Michelle asked, how do you wrap up each agenda with a group to keep fair to the others? Well, each agenda is basically wrapped up by a short summary and the person giving their feedback as we move through each agenda. So it's of course completely fair, because if you've got two like we had tonight, you wrap up each one separately. Cynthia asked, is this type of group something that coaches do, exactly as we are seeing? Yes, it's exactly how we have worked on a weekly or bi-weekly basis with some of the members you see here tonight inside my team. And maybe one or two of them can tell you how they think it's been working.
Well, it has been working great. I think in the beginning, we all had a bit of the tendency to give good advice, because it was somebody brings a case and everybody has something in mind and thinks, oh, it could be this, or why not try that? And I think we had to get in the habit again of, hey, let's first start with questioning again. We're not too bad at that, and we kind of had some success around that. So starting with that, and then taking a second look, and then sharing ideas. So I think that took us a bit of time, but then it was really great. It really went great.
I agree. So what I always say in a setting like this is you start off with questions until you sort of hit the end. The person doesn't have any resources or ideas left. And then you start with alternatives, like giving your perspectives and sharing your experience and giving advice where appropriate. So always start with questions to help create new insights and to help the person discover that for themselves. If that's not possible, then you move on to other approaches. When do we get those group supervisions? I'm graduating soon and never got one. Marwa, this is a fairly recent, call it invention in the school. So I would suggest you ask your supervisor about that. Because as I know, most supervisors now have these sessions on a fairly regular basis. So just ask your supervisor, and they will tell you, or then arrange one of these. Jenny asked, what situation would you use a group supervision like this outside of with other coaches? Or is it specifically for a group of coaches? It is in the coaching industry, of course, specifically for a group of coaches, but this comes from industries that include counseling, social work, psychology. So it's widely used outside the coaching world as well. And I think that's all the general questions that we got.
Joan, if I can give one comment on the last
yes,
question you answered.
Of course.
You don't necessarily have to wait for your supervisor or for subgroup calls to do this type of stuff, right? I would suggest and advise, like, pick a bunch of people you're comfortable with, or even if you don't know them yet, and just form a little group yourself with 4 or 5 people or 6, and make this a weekly thing where you can discuss on a more personal level with each other. It's like, hey, this is what I'm running into. What do you guys think? So you can just bounce ideas off each other, just like we did here, but with your own small group of fellow coaches.
And there is a technique, I don't know the English, like literally translated from German to English, it would be called collegial case advice. So this is independently from coaching, and it's quite a good structure in which you can bring your topic in, and you don't need to have a coach there, or not all the participants have to be coaches. You can do that with your friends or colleagues, and someone should, it's really important that someone is facilitating, or what do you say, facilitating or moderating?
Facilitating.
Yeah,
Or
facilitating.
moderating. Yeah.
Okay, so so facilitating it, because it has to do with time, with not to ask too many questions. So there are some rules around that. But working in that space or in that structure, it's a beautiful tool to do that with whoever you want to, on whatever question you want to work on, as long as people, well, are kind of conscious or interested in digging deeper, I would say.
I see a question about group coaching as well. Now, that's different from group supervision, of course. So group coaching may be one coach and a number of clients. Usually that is the case. Whereas group supervision is usually a supervisor or a facilitator with a group of coaches. So that's the difference between the two. And in group coaching, I'm not a group coach specialist, but it's more about asking questions. So it's more along the line of coaching than of supervision.
And I would like to add just one more thing on what Kevin said. It's this, as coaches, we don't have to wait until we have an urgent case on our mind, because what we always tell our clients is to brush your brain, right? We tell everybody, don't only brush your teeth, clear your head, make your brain clear and clean again, and having this a setting like this in a regular way, like every 4 or I don't know 5, 6 weeks, whatever works, is so healthy in general, so that you don't get overwhelmed, and just sharing perspective, getting it out of the head, looking at it from different angles. So that's pick the people you feel comfortable with and do so.
Absolutely.
I would
agree.
send. Yeah, sorry. You go.
No, I just wanted to say I agree with you, Jana and Kevin. So continue, please.
No, I just wanted to say I'm going to send the next schedule for the 6 of us within 4 or 6 weeks. We can already schedule that tonight.
Yeah, I just want to add that these sessions are just have been so beneficial, and even if you don't come with a topic, don't feel uncomfortable about it. Because someone's going to bring up a topic, or someone's going to say something that you're going to connect with, and that's going to help you with whatever sessions that you're going through. So that's one of the fears is, I didn't come with the topic, but I came here because I knew that I was going to, benefit from it. So regardless of if you have a topic or not, but join the sessions, don't be afraid. And know that regardless, you do bring something into the group session, and eventually you'll have an insight that will benefit someone else. So while you don't have a topic, you'll have wisdom or knowledge to share from your own experiences.
And you always have a topic, right? You might just not be aware of it. Even if everyone is stuck and says like I have nothing, like ask one person, it's like your last coaching session, what's one thing that didn't go that smooth? And so, and you have one, and you have a topic,
exactly.
and everyone has that. So you have loads of topics, they just might not be top of mind.
And the most interesting and fascinating thing is if you get used to these type of sessions, you think about it the whole time when you have a session. What can I bring? What can I go and test in the group and see what I can do better? So it's absolutely, it's fascinating. Any final thoughts from any of you?
I'm just very thankful for Miriam and Georgie for bringing their agendas to this session. And Juan, I mean, I'm still mind blown with the hero thing. It's like it's the most empowering approach you can take from the start to a session with anyone. So it's like, I know the concept, but the way you talked about it, it just, I know, it's like,
I think
hearing something 6 times and then at once all of a sudden dots connect,
And I've heard it in action, and it's absolutely it's wonderful, because you start to build a story with yourself as the central actor almost, and you start to believe it because you think it.
Yeah, I think really Juan walks his talk,
No, it's just from my own experiences, living my own story and identifying it as no longer serving me, and how powerful it is when you take yourself out of your old stories. That right there is the most impactful. So I take that and share it, and I want to share that.
I don't know if you guys want to quickly think about this as a final question. Somebody asked, when 2 or 3 supervisors focus on a specific topic such as relationships, what would that be called?
What would that be? What was the last word, Joanne?
What would that be called?
When 2 or 3 supervisors focus on the same topic.
Problem solving.
Yeah, probably brainstorming.
Maybe a topic related group supervision.
Yeah,
I don't know.
that can be an option. All right, any last words or final ideas before we say goodbye to our lovely audience? And I want to thank you all for being here as well. It's been a fantastic experience, as usual.
As
So
usual,
thank you very much.
And
I
I'm
would say
crazy.
It's always a pleasure.
Everyone, if we haven't covered one of your questions or topics that went into like chat, but that was just filling up like crazy, just reach out to any of us and let us know. We'd be more than happy to cover whatever it is we missed.
Very true. And I
Yeah,
just really need to say that I'm so freaking out happy about the fact that we did this here together, guys, because I love you all.
Like I said, we're definitely a good bunch. We really are.
Absolutely. And I hope you have a lovely weekend. And thanks again for being here. And thanks for your contributions. It's been amazing.
Thank you, Joan.
And thanks for the lovely
Thank you.
audience as well. As Kevin has said, you've got the contact details of all the panelists, so feel free to reach out to any of them or to myself as well. All righty. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.